Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of these DuckTales shorts. I'm your host, Zenith Warrior Princess, where diving into DuckTales never ends. Today, we are joined once again by Kat McBerry.
Greetings. I like speaking like this because it makes me sound important. Baloney trampoline.
Doug McBerry, or as we like to call him, Glomdug.
Curse you, Zenith! But seriously, I can't wait to engage in discussion on the bark beetle.
I'm sorry, we're going to have to bump you, Glomdug.
What?
And finally, Y2 Stoller.
Thank you. You are hearing me talk. I don't know. I feel like I have to do it in that sort of like professional podcast.
Professional podcast. Here's the thing, guys. We are not a professional podcast. We try our best, but I edit this, and while we have upgraded Kat's mic and my mic, everyone's mic and environment is different. This is not a professional recording. I do apologize, but welcome back to Diving Into DuckTales. Woo-hoo! We're not dead.
Yeah, it's been a while, definitely for certain, but I'm glad to get back to this.
It's good to get back to this. I miss this. We have one more episode after this, but we had to get the gang back together. Today we're actually going to be discussing something different that I think a lot of people weren't expecting. We're going to be discussing these DuckTales shorts. Basically all the shorts that were created for DuckTales and the podcasts for, this DuckTales life. This Duckberg life, rather. So we're going to be discussing all of that today. There's a lot to discuss here. So I'm going to start us off by, giving us, a little bit of a breakdown, because, a lot of these shorts are good, but a lot of them are very similar. So we're going to kind of break them into categories and discuss them that way. So the first ones that I really wanted to discuss were the ones that are really just promoting DuckTales, because a lot of these shorts were created just to promote DuckTales. So we have Welcome to Duckberg, which is basically 6 shorts that were created to introduce us to the characters. 30 Things, which are 4 shorts created, to tell us about the characters. And also the top 4 favorites, which was basically characters listing off their favorite things. Now, before we get into individuals and we discuss our opinions on them, basically, the Welcome to Duckberg shorts is it started off with a long one called Donald's Birthday, which is basically a Donald Duck short. And then it went through each individual character, Scrooge, Huey, Launchpad, Beakley, Webby. Just a little glimpse into their life. There's not too much there. 30 Things is the characters listing off 30 things about them to help promote them for the character. Louie doesn't finish the 30 things because he's Louie and he gets tired. And then the top 4 favorites are Webby, Louie, and Huey and Dewey listing off their favorite disguises, favorite treasures, favorite monsters, tech quests, stuff like that. All of this seems to be created simply to help promote the show. Kat, what are your thoughts on these specific blocks of shorts?
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely just promotional things. If you're a longtime fan, this is just repeating what you already know. I think easily the best out of all of them is Welcome to Duckberg, because they are basically tiny little shorts that I guess could fit into an episode, or at least, the tail end of an episode, or maybe the opening. I didn't like Donald's Birthday because I don't like seeing him miserable like that, especially with Scrooge being such a dick and getting that magical candle that never goes out. It's I get he did that because he wanted to save money, but it's dude, don't be a dick. The others weren't as good. I mean, the Launchpad one was great, but that's because they put that at the end of the pilot episode, so I already saw that. And
Yeah, it was really fun.
dear sir or madam, sorry for crashing my plane into your car. And I like the Mrs. Beakley one. The fact that the kids are running around in terror, she just goes about her business, and then a ghost shows up and she just casually vacuums it up because she apparently has a ghost sucking option on her vacuum. Because it happens so often. Although it makes me wonder what.
Well, you see, she's part Ghostbuster. Like, she's the one that you never hear about.
Makes me wonder why she doesn't use that on Duckworth.
Well, then again, Duckworth used to work there, so like that would just be rude.
No, she'll just throw plates at him instead. The rest, like I said, were just okay. Like, although I question in the Scrooge short, like, why does he have a time-traveling clock just laying around that anybody could use?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta wonder. It's more like a Louis short than a Scrooge short, when I'm being honest. That's probably my least favorite of this block, because I like Donald's Birthday, I like, Huey Launchpad is probably my favorite, Miss Beakley and Webby, but then Meet Scrooge, it's like, it's Louis messing with a clock and Scrooge going back and forward in time.
When you think about it, this is kind of foreshadowing for the episode Typhoon. It's except on a grander scale.
Yeah.
I was thinking that when I saw that. I'm just like, wait a minute, doesn't the clock come back in the time travel episode where they?
Well, it's a bathtub, but. And
what year is it?
In a similar vein, the Huey one was kind of foreshadowing for the episode with Bigfoot.
Yeah, the camping where this is how you capture a Bigfoot, because the Junior Woodchuck guidebook solves everything.
Apparently. But yeah, like I said, those were easily the most amusing. Like, everything else, what was it you said, like the 30 things? I don't remember a lot of them because a lot of them are just the traits of the kids that we already know.
It's basically describing things. The most interesting one was Louis.
Yeah, and then like the top 4 things, like I didn't even agree with any of them. I felt like they went with the most generic choices, or at least the went with clips they thought would entice kids to watching the show or something. Like,
there were much better monsters or better treasures or better tech, and I'm looking at them like, I heavily disagree.
And
keep in mind,
I
was going to say, keep in mind that this was before season 3 even came out, so they're only including stuff from the first 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm. And not to mention, a lot of these like promotional things have like the weakest animation. Like, I've seen VTuber animation better than what they did for the kids. It's like, come on.
Doug, what are your thoughts?
Obviously with the Welcome to Duckberg shorts, yeah, they range from they're either, pretty damn good to easily forgettable. Definitely, my favorite is obviously the Launchpad because, we watched that the night that we saw the premiere of Woohoo.
We reacted to that one.
Yeah. we definitely enjoyed that one. I definitely can relate to the Donald one, given that on one birthday, a former friend of mine did actually give me candles like that on my birthday. So,
oh no.
yeah, that is like, yeah, I can totally relate to what Donald's been through. Yeah, Mrs. Beakley, it's short, but it's, the fact that they end it with her just vacuuming up the ghost, it's like, yeah, that's just typical Miss Beakley. The other ones
she
I
borrowed
kind of
that one from the
forget.
game.
Yeah, it's like, honestly, if you hadn't reminded me, I kind of would have forgotten about the Louis one, with the time machine. Yeah,
it's ultimately forgettable.
Yeah, a lot of them are kind of, like I said, they're either really good and stick in there, or I've already forgotten them. What you call it, like the 30 things? Yeah, I'm with you. It's really hard to critique them. They're fun, but they're so fast you can't remember everything. Really, Luis is probably the only one that really sticks out again because he actually doesn't complete the 30 things. Uh, but yeah, I mean it's typical promo stuff.
Aside from maybe like DJ Daft Duck, but
Yeah.
like DJ Daft Duck is fun. So like,
I think also technically Louis was the first time we actually saw Duckworth, because they show him and Beakley cleaning up in that. So, and I think that was before McMurder at McMystery at McDuck McMansion. Yeah.
curse you, Mick Daft Duck.
Mr. McDuck says, "No parties." Yes.
And then top four
And
favorites.
the top four favorites, again, I don't really remember too much. Like you said, it's pretty generic. They really only have the first two seasons that they're talking about, so there's not a lot. And I don't even think they even talk about, like, because it's a list of top 10 things, right? And they don't even get through that many.
No, it's top four favorites, but like even still, like they don't list in the monsters. They don't list the Kraken that they encountered, which I think is better than the Siren monster. You know, like I feel like some of the monsters that they could have used, or you know, even just night vision goggles. That's from the pilot. Like, you know, okay. Mr. Eric.
Really not much for. I mean, really not much for me to say. Like, I mean, the Welcome to Duckberg stuff. Like, it was. They're really quick. Like, very quick. Like 2-3 minute stuff. But like, yeah, the Launchpad one. Obviously, that one sticks out because we actually saw that when with the pilot.
I'm a pilot.
The Mrs. B.
How does he still have his license?
The Mrs. Beakley one and the one with Scrooge and Louie and the Time Machine. I mean, that one stuck out. That one also stuck out with me because it ties in with another episode. But a lot of the other stuff, it's just a lot of it. You know, it's a lot of promotional stuff. The 30 things. It was okay. I mean, it's all right, but it's like it's kind of like we said, it's stuff we don't already know. Top four favorites, kind of generic. You know, very kind of generic. Just, I mean, like I said, like I said, they're only going off of the first two seasons. Like, there's better stuff that they could have gone with, especially when they get to season 3. So it's like, it's kind of hit or miss.
Yeah. A lot of these early ones were hit or miss for me. I did like the Welcome to Duckberg. 30 Things was enjoyable but forgettable. Top four favorites, I'm like, I strongly disagree. No. But then we have the promotional stuff for other shows, which is different because like these shorts were initially to promote DuckTales. Well, these are specifically to promote other shows. So first we have Webby Reacts for 7 episodes, 7 shorts, and then we have Disney Random Rings for 2 shorts. Now, Webby Reacts is copyright infringement of Cat Reacts.
Damn right.
You should sue. And DuckTales reactions. No, I'm just kidding. You can't copyright React World. They tried, but they failed. Anyway, Webby Reacts is basically Webby on her phone or someone else's phone reacting to 30 seconds of a Disney Channel show or movie, and Disney Random Rings is Launchpad accidentally dialing someone he shouldn't have. So, Kat, what do you think of these 2 shorts?
Well, for starters, I blame you, Zen, because since we had to watch all these videos and I had to watch that one particular reaction from Webby, I now have this song stuck in my head. What's my name? What's my name? What's my name? I've been singing that all goddamn day, and I hate you for it.
What's my name? What's my name? Your name is Uwe. And I haven't even seen Descendants, but, like, I kind of want to now.
See, here's the thing. I have a relationship with Descendants the same way I have it with High School Musical. It shouldn't appeal to me. and it doesn't appeal to me, and yet I know every single goddamn thing about it by virtue of my siblings and through my osmosis knowledge of all things Disney. So yeah, I hate it.
I love High School Musical, and so I guess I'm gonna like this, but like this is one of those things where I know nothing about it except like apparently these villains fucked, and
pretty much the 3 movies proving that Disney villains fucked.
Yeah.
No one fucks like Gaston.
Oh, good lord.
But yeah, getting to the shorts. I mean, I thought it was interesting because Webby, as we know, doesn't really watch TV, and she kind of takes everything literally. So seeing her reactions to like these dramatic or comedic live action Disney shows was rather funny in my opinion. Like the whole dramatic reveal with Andy Mack, the whole thing with zombies, the weirdness that was that Raven short. Like holy crap! And
You go get.
like don't
You gon' get.
like, I know this was obviously promotional material, but I actually think Disney did a really good job choosing, like, these clips, because they really do get you interested to see the context behind some of these things. I shit you not, because I had that song stuck in my head, I actually sought out that song in full from Descendants and listened to it. I'm like, okay. Now that I know the whole song, I don't have to listen to it ever again. 24 hours later.
What's my name?
It's Uma, goddammit!
It's Uma.
We'll get to that eventually, people. Just you wait.
We will get to Descendants because I need to see what the hell this is. As for me, like, I was a little bit disappointed, not with like the actual reactions, because the reactions really did get me invested and want to see it. It's like, but these were the shortest of the shorts, and it's just like you get 30 seconds of a reaction. I'm like, I kind of want a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Like I wanted the reactions to take up like, you know, several parts of the episode, and this also brings up a problem I have with the YouTube compilations. Good thing we have YouTube playlists that, you know, keep me and lists that, you know, I didn't miss out, but all the compilations of all of these shorts are out of order, and not only that, but they like skip some.
Yeah, that's why I don't really watch compilations, because a lot of the time, just to avoid the copyright, they'll cut out the good bits. Like, case in point with the Glomgold takeover. So, yeah, definitely I watch these individually.
Yeah, watch it individually.
And then as for what is it, the prank
Random
calls?
rings.
Yeah, random rings.
Disney Random Rings.
Like I said, this was enjoyable just because it was Launchpad doing it. Like, I have nothing against Baymax. I think he's fine. I mean, I wasn't a big fan of Big Hero 6, so I didn't really care to see him, but I just love the lead-up, like him calling Baymax thinking he's pizza, and the whole getting medical advice leading up to the reveal at the end of the situation.
Yeah, it's very well paced, because, like, you think he's still in the air and is, like, ordering pizza, and they just, the way it goes, like, it's really well paced.
Yeah. And the other one with Cricket, I won't lie, I don't really it's weird. I can't say I hate Big City Green. I've seen some episodes. I think it's fine, but there are some things about it that just really annoy me. And I've seen so many of these random rings involving Cricket that I kind of am starting to hate him. So when I saw this, it's like, well, at least it's in character for him to try to scam Launchpad out of the whole thing, but I don't know, compared to other things I've seen, it just felt really weak, even if it was, again, still funny because of Launchpad, you know, dialing by mistake and just instantly believing this kid about, you know, obtaining the gemstone.
Yeah, like, that was the weaker one. I like the Baymax one, especially because the cat antics in the background. The cat's just like, stay still, I want hugs. Like, I cannot hang up until you say you are satisfied with my care. Which means he's still on the line, because...
You are satisfied with your care.
Are you satisfied with your care?
Eric, what do you think?
Yeah, the random rings, like, I think it only works because it's Launchpad. Like, if they used... Maybe it would have worked if it was with Glomgold, but maybe... but I think because it's Launchpad, it works. Like the Baymax one is definitely better than the one with Cricket. Um,
Honestly, here's what they should have done, which I think would have been really interesting. Have Louis be the one trying to pull a scam on Cricket while Cricket is trying to pull a scam on Louis.
Yes, yes. Oh my god, that would have worked.
That would have worked. Yeah.
Like them trying to outcon each other. That would have been classic. Like I really am genuinely curious now to see that. And it makes me sad because it's like, yeah, these Launchpad ones were cute, but it's like, you could have done better.
Yeah, you could have had Harp be gone versus Cricket, you know?
Mm-hmm.
The Webby Reacts, I thought, like, it's kind of what I expected, especially with Webby. And to your point, Kat, I think they did a good job. Like they were trying to do like a viral. It was like they were trying to create a viral video. It's like a viral video within a viral video in which they're showing like the best clips that does kind of make you like want to see more. And you're absolutely right. Especially with the Raven's Home one, where like you're going to get like
Don't get it.
You gonna get it.
Like what the
and
hell
you know
is
what's
going on?
funny? That reminds me a lot of like I used to watch That's So Raven and Cory in the House, and that's basically the tone of the original That's So Raven.
Yes.
So it kind of makes me want to watch it again. You know.
Although, definitely don't be high when you watch it. I have a feeling you're probably going to jump off a bridge if you watch that clip again.
Or don't have psychic powers because you're going to be like, this is weird. But Doug, what do you think?
So yeah, I'm pretty much with you on that. There's not much to say in terms of the Webby Reacts, but definitely, to your point, yeah, it's like some of that stuff. I'm like, I don't even really watch much of the Disney Channel, but that one clip from Andy Mack alone, it's like, I know that was, the Disney going harder, on like the same sex in relationships and that pushing the envelope a little bit. So to see that clip of her admitting that, I'm actually your mother, not your sister. I'm like, okay, you have my attention.
You had my curiosity. Now you have my attention.
I mean, I kind of just zoned out during like the Descendants and the zombies and obviously.
To be fair, the zombie ones had the guy getting punched in the face. So
I mean, yeah, I zombies doesn't look good, but Descendants, I'm just like, okay, you know what? We have singing Captain Jack Sparrow daughter. Okay.
And I think sorry.
Well, she's Davy Jones's daughter, and I hate that I know that.
And I think one thing I noticed each time that they did a new clip was that they'd have like Webby put a different color pin on the cork board, and then like eventually like the last one was her putting a string, to connect something. So it's like that was the one thing I was really noticing from it.
I really did like the one where like everyone's saying goodbye. I didn't know what that was from, but like everyone's saying goodbye. She's like, no, and she just gets the brothers together. It's like, no, you don't leave me ever.
Big hug.
Stuck in the middle. I've never heard of that, but now I kind of want to watch it.
It's like I feel like I remember seeing promos for it, but it's one of those Disney Channel things. It's like I'm not even interested. I'm completely zoning out. It just kind of like the name is in the back of my head, but I don't know anything else. As far as the random rings go, that same former friend that gave me the friendship candles that don't blow out. Also introduced me to Crank Yankers way back when, which I have a love-hate relation. Not even a love-hate, sort of like hate relationship. But I feel like the random rings are kind of like a neutered version of Crank Yankers. But I did find it clever, with Cricket trying to con Launchpad out of the gem. It only fails because freaking Launchpad, being the pilot that he is, breaks the thing into millions of pieces.
Which
Must not be a good gemstone if it breaks that easily.
Yeah,
I was about
seriously.
to say, that must be fake if it's able to shatter like that, because gemstones should not be able to do that.
Maybe diamond, but even still, like, it really depends on, like, the type of gemstone.
Unless Launchpad's crashing powers are so powerful that it can actually smash diamonds. I would believe that.
And then you have, the Baymax one, which, much like Cat, I didn't like Big Hero 6, but I do have a soft spot in my heart for Baymax.
I liked it.
Yeah. But I mean, in the context for it, it was fun. It's nice to see him care. And you're watching the whole time in the background, wondering, is Launchpad upside down? And then they do reveal that and he's in front of it's like, oh, he crashed into the billboard above a pizza restaurant. Of course, he wants pizza.
Oh, it's great. It's great. So yeah, like these ones I think are okay, but I feel like they're more to get you to watch other things, and they do a good job. I just wish they were a little bit longer. Now we move on to the third category, which is the majority of the list, aside from the podcast. So basically, this category I attribute to original shorts, shorts that aren't promoting DuckTales exactly. They're not really there to promote other shows. They're just shorts with these characters. The first one is The World's Longest Death Trap, which is actually five episodes that are all a storyline in a row. And I think this is one of the better ones, personally, because essentially this feels like it could be placed in any episode of DuckTales, where you have two characters get stuck in a death trap. They try to get out. Launchpad comes, tries to help. He gets stuck in there, and Huey, Dewey, like everyone just finally gets stuck. They get out of it, but then there's more death trap, and it's a comedy of errors. Doug, what do you think?
I mean, it's not like my favorite thing, but I do get an enjoyment out of it. It feels so, like, despite the fact that it's definitely, a trope of DuckTales, this feels kind of like that one episode of Venture Brothers where it's like Return to the Grave of the Mummies Part 2. I forget what the exact title is, but basically it's like they're stuck in the death trap the whole time trying to figure a way out, and it's just like getting more and more ridiculous each time. And meanwhile, Venture and Dr. Orpheus are having a dick off of who can do the best at shrinking something. And I've completely gotten off on a tangent here, but the point is that was kind of the impression that I was getting out of it. I do like how it does actually, like, despite the fact that you could watch it all in one sitting, it does have this sort of feeling of, you do watch it in episodes, because it's like each time another character kind of joins into the thing until they finally do end it, or, to be continued maybe. What you call it? I think this is the perfect thing, like if you're having a DuckTales marathon to, show during the commercial break, between each episode in order. I think that's...
Yeah, these are definitely things that they would probably air in between episodes and stuff like that. I think it works really well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Eric?
World's Longest Death Trap. This is pretty much it's a mini-sode, really, because even though it's broken up into 5 parts, I mean it's one storyline, but they're all just like, yeah, we've all been in this before, but the fact that it just keeps getting slower, and they just keep adding more people in. First it's Webby and Dewey, then Louie, then it's Dewey comes in, then Launchpad comes in, and then Huey gets, and then they're all stuck in there, and eventually they get out, only to find out that there's still another death trap. They're like, ah.
But the Junior Woodchuck guidebook solves everything.
And there's still another death trap. Ah. And even they're just like annoyed by it. Like, really? But I thought that, I mean, like I said, this is not exactly my favorite of the shorts, but I still enjoyed it for what it was trying to do. It just got sillier and sillier as it went along, so that's what I liked about it.
Yeah. It's not my favorite, but it's one of my top for sure. Kat?
Well, first off, it kind of reminds, like, to me, it feels like a deleted scene from the Toth Raw episode. Because it's kind of the same setting and everything.
Yeah.
And also, the way that it's segmented, it kind of reminds me of when I used to get the Disney Adventure magazine as a kid. And the comics section would be, you know, they'd have a story, but then they'd end on a cliffhanger, so you'd have to wait for next week's edition to see how the story ends. That's what it kind of felt like to me, structure-wise. In terms of enjoyability, is that I did like it, like, given how every time they try to, like, escape, something goes wrong. Although Dewey's a total fucking idiot in this one. It's like, they have a phone, they can call for help. What does he do? He throws the phone. Like, are you kidding me?
My God,
like,
man.
I expect that from Launchpad, but, like, Dewey, come on. And
But
also,
he throws it to Launchpad. So you might.
You gotta do
didn't even know
it. You gotta do.
He didn't even know Launchpad was there. He just threw the phone. But
Wait a minute. Hold the phone.
Ba-dum-bum.
But another thing I couldn't help but noticing, why didn't they just climb up the spikes? Like, honestly, the spikes were...
Before they were electrified, yeah.
Yeah,
Had
exactly.
snakes.
Right, but they didn't press any of that other stuff yet. The spikes were still safe to touch, and it was slow enough they could just climb up it. I couldn't see why they had to wait for Launchpad to throw a rope, which didn't even work.
Attach it to something. Oh, no, attach it to something heavy. Oof.
Like I said, I like this. It was a nice, fun short, and I like that the death trap just doesn't end. It just perpetually gets worse. That's how you design your death trap.
Personally, I think this actually could fit better in the second episode, the journey to Atlantis, where everything's upside down. Like, it kind of feels like it takes place somewhere in those, like, in one of those two episodes, maybe.
And Launchpad gets bitten by snakes.
Yeah. So it's like, it all comes full circle. I feel like it could work there, but who knows? The next one I don't have a lot to say about. I think we're going to go through quickly. It's an oddity. It's Fly. I didn't know what this was until I clicked on it. This is a music video with DJ Marshmello. And now, for those who don't know, I am a fan of the rave scene. I used to go and listen to electronic music. So I know who DJ Marshmello is. He's one of the big names in the scene. Basically, kind of like how Daft Punk got their start. A lot of people are like, oh, Deadmau 5, I want to put a mouse helmet on. Well, Marshmello puts a marshmallow helmet on. It's how they distinguish themselves. So they did a collaboration with DuckTales for the music video, which is like, it's DJ Marshmello and DJ Daft Duck, and they're flying and they're playing music, and it's a music video. I really liked it for the visuals, but like, it's an oddity. Like, it doesn't really fit aside from DJ Daft Duck. Kat, what do you think?
Yeah, this is a weird one. I do agree the visual's really nice. I personally don't really care for electronic music. Like, don't get me wrong, I think Daft Punk is great and everything. It's just not my cup of tea. But, like, story-wise, I find it funny how it starts off with Donald dooming them all, but then he also inadvertently saves Marshmello, who was apparently stranded on that planet. But I will say, we missed out on a big opportunity here. This should have been a DJ off between Marshmello and DJ Daft Duck. Why didn't that happen?
Yeah. Why wasn't that a thing? Because, like, they did show it. Like, I get why they have, like, you know, the DJ Daft Duck and whatnot, but they didn't really utilize DJ Daft Duck. So.
Oh no.
I don't know, that just felt like a waste to me. Otherwise, it was a fine video. There's nothing special about it. It's okay to listen to if you like electronic, but otherwise, it's skippable.
Doug?
Yep, as we've all been saying, I thought the animation on it was beautiful, The song itself is nothing special. I
It's pretty generic. Marshmallow is not like my favorite. Honestly, I like Deadmau5 more than I like Marshmallow. Marshmallow is very mainstream safe electronic, which it's house.
yeah.
You know.
Like, I remembered seeing this, like, they take snippets of it and show it, during commercial breaks and things. I had no idea prior to this there was actually a full-on music video to this. And yeah, like I said, aside from the animation, I'm not really impressed. Moving on.
And unfortunately, Mr. Eric did not see this before we started, but we said he didn't have to because there's really not much to this short. You could see it after Eric, but like, yeah, there's really not much.
You're not
to
missing
this
much.
Eh.
And now, a word from our commercial sponsors on these DuckTales shorts. It's Glomdug promoting something with sharks.
Hello, this is Flintheart Glomdog. Have you ever wanted to host a podcast with sharks? Well, now I've got the perfect one for you. It's the Sharkcast. We talk to my shark guy, and we talk to all my sharks. We put sharkas on the sharks. That's parkas for sharks. You should listen to Flintheart Glomgold's Sharkcast, only here on Zenith's channel.
Note, may not appear on Zenith's channel.
What? Not again!
And now it's time for our favorite, the one that we've been waiting for. It's do tonight, do tonight. This is my favorite one. It's 4 shorts, essentially taking the idea from the actual show, where they make fun of like late night shows, like like late night talk shows and whatnot, and just poke fun at with Dewey. And I love it. Like, I love the guests that he has on. I like have Glomgold always gets bumped. Oh, by the way,
What?
Glomgold, we're gonna have to bump your commercial appearance again.
What? But I paid you gobs of money!
Yeah, and then you revealed your evil plan.
Can't
To
use
have
it! Don't watch
The
this
shark
channel!
Doug, what do you think of Dewey tonight?
Oh my god, it was great. I loved the Dewey tonight in the episode, what am I saying? The episode where they each become single only child. Day of the Only Child, excuse me.
Yes.
Yeah. I love that episode, and I love that segment of the episode, and I love the fact that they've made shorts out of it, and they even continue to use it, into like the 3rd season, as part of the show. So yeah, this was great, and I think they released this strictly online. So I actually, we would actually anticipate watching this whenever they would air a new short. Let's see. So I think like the first one was Webby, and it's just like clearly Dewey is trying to get her to say one thing, but she is just not picking up on what he's trying to say, and instead she's just saying something that's probably going to embarrass him. And you keep seeing like the edits of him trying to manipulate the conversation, but it's just not working. And then there's like the one with Launchpad and Will It Fly?
Will it crash?
Will it crash?
Will It Crash?
Will it crash?
Excuse me. Yeah. Well, I feel like there was one more, and I'm blanking on it.
The interview with
I can
Manny.
look.
The interview with Manny
yeah,
the
Manny.
Man Person is like they can't quite understand what he's saying, and then he storms
And then
off
there
in a
was
huff
the
to live
final-
again.
And then there was the bedtime,
bedtime
one,
one.
where basically
And
they just interrupted.
and I love how at the end of every single one of them, Flintheart Glomgold gets bumped.
And I like in the bedtime one, it's like, why is Glomgold in our bed?
Why is Glomgold hiding in the corner of our bedroom?
It's great.
I'm like
Eric.
I'm like almost like wondering if there was like a deleted scene of him just like waiting under the bed for to start to show up again.
Eric, what do you think?
Oh, I love these. I wish there was more of them. Like, there's only 4 of them, which is a crime in and of itself. So,
Amen.
I just no, because I always liked the Dewey Do Night stuff when they had it in the show, and then I remember they posted these on YouTube, and I never got around to watching them, and I finally did, and I'm just like, wait, there's only 4 of them? I just wish there was more of them. Like, they could have done more with this. But
they could have done this like each season, honestly. They could have had, especially like to introduce some of the new characters.
yes, like that actually would have played off very well. Although
I mean, they could have done that with what's her face, Gander D or something like that. You know.
But anyway, like I really like what they were going. Really liked this. I thought it was funny. I mean, obviously the Will It Crash, the play on Will It Blend, way back in the early days of YouTube, and I wish they did a little bit more of that stuff. They could have just thrown that. And yes, I do like the running gag with Glomgold being bumped every single time.
What?
I was actually anticipating that, and I was anticipating there would be an episode where Glomgold finally does show up, only for him to get cut off again at the very end.
Yeah, that would have been great. It's like he shows up, he starts, and then, sorry, we ran out of budget.
Curse you, Dewey tonight!
Sorry, this is the final episode. What?
And Cat.
Doesn't actually feature Glomgold. 0 out of 10. No, I'm kidding. No, this was great. Like I said, like Eric said, this definitely needed a lot more segments. There was so much more they could have done with it, but what we got, I think, was pretty fun. Like I said, Webby pretty much embarrassing him on live TV, was great. Him trying to get Manny's background, but not being able to understand him, and Manny just flipping his shit. That was great. That's probably my favorite part. And then Will It Crash? I love how Launchpad goes out of his way to show how disappointed he is that the boat has safety features, and yet somehow still he is able to destroy both Donald's boat and car with it.
My boat, my car, my house.
That is superb crashing right there. And
yes, it will crash.
And I love by the time we get to bedtime, he has more dislikes than likes, back in the day where you could actually see dislikes on YouTube. And he tries to do something extreme, like possibly kill a kitten, because we know he's not going to make that jump. And thankfully, we're spared that visual.
That poor kitty. I just want to pick it up and say it's okay. We love you.
But yeah, the constant bumping of Glomgold is the best.
Honestly, Dewey Tonight, me and Matt used to watch late night show with I forget who it was, but the British guy.
Graham Norton, or
no, the other
Craig
British
Ferguson.
Guy. I think it was Craig Ferguson.
James Corden.
No, we don't like him.
Oh, okay.
It's the guy who is basically donated a whole bunch of money to people.
John Oliver?
And brought off John Oliver. Sorry,
oh, yes.
John Oliver.
Last Week Tonight.
Yeah, we used to watch Last Week Tonight, and it's just that feels let's make fun of Jimmy Fallon and Last Week Tonight and all of this stuff, and it's great. I'm sorry, John Oliver. I could not remember your name. I don't know why.
Just be glad he's not whack Sherlock Holmes right now.
Next we have another short one, but another favorite of ours, Disney theme song takeover. Because one was Glom Tales, where Glomgold took over, and it was amazing. And then the other was Launchpad's theme song takeover, and that was amazing. It's just they picked the 2 best characters that they could to take over the theme song, and they rolled with it. Kat, go. What do you think?
What can I even say that I didn't already say in the Glom Tales episode? This theme song takeover is gold. Glomgold. But yeah.
Oh no, we ran out of budget.
That's always my favorite part. But I just love how
CGI so fancy.
I just love he's editing all this himself, and you see just how crude it would look in any other setting, but for Glomgold, it's just perfect. And it gets just crappier and crappier and lazier as it goes on, but that's what makes it so fantastic. And then at the end, he gets like 50 copyright strikes and arrested.
Curse you, copyright!
Curse you, DJ Daft Duck!
I love he hires DJ Daft Duck to sing, and he doesn't even talk.
Oh, no.
Classic Glomgold.
Oh, classic me.
And that's not to say the Launchpad one wasn't good either. That one was great, too. It was absolutely, like, perfect for Launchpad. It's just, I question the time loop of that. Like, how did he get in that sort of time loop? Has the DuckTales theme song been a time loop this entire time? Like, I'm so confused. I have so many questions.
Or is it all in Launchpad's head that just keeps going around and around and around and around?
Hey, Mr. McD, you dropped this.
Honestly, he could just say airplanes. And I'd just be happy.
Oh, that's great.
Like with Glomgold, Scrooge stinks, Scrooge stinks, Scrooge stinks, Scrooge stinks, Glomtails!
Yes.
This is CGI so fancy.
It's the crappiest CG.
There's no chancey.
And then they ran out of budget. I'm like, but kids 6 to 10 will love it.
Screw that.
Eric,
We're
what do
adults
you
and we
think?
love it.
Yeah.
What do you think, Eric?
I love how that. It's funny because we've seen the Glomtails theme like in the episode Glomtails because that's what's used. So I just love how they. So it was an obvious choice to use that for the first theme song takeover. But then the Launchpad one, that one was just brilliant. That's just them playing around with the opening with the opening sequence, and that was just fun. Just airplanes, and that was a lot of fun. And the fact that it comes back around again, like, wait, what?
That ending gets me every time because I keep forgetting it's a thing, and then it's like, I
keep digging this hole.
Doug.
So, as I recall, we were at Con Bravo reacting to the San Diego Comic-Con panel they showed, and as soon as they bust that out, everybody starts cheering. And that was just the best thing that they could have done. I'm like, we have probably talked about Glomtails over and over and over and over again, and I don't care, because I could watch it a million times and not get sick of it.
I honestly think that with Glomgold, they turned shit into gold here, because Glomgold in the original was not this good.
Gold.
Like, Glomgold is a character who, like, in the original you could take or leave, but here he steals so much of the show, and he's not overused.
Nope.
And it's like, when you have the Glomtails takeover, it's just like, I just want to keep watching it.
And, what you call it? And obviously the Launchpad one came first, but obviously the Glomtails, the only one I'd say that, the only theme song takeover that really compares at all is when Doofenshmirtz takes over Milo Murphy's Law.
That one was great.
That one was great, but
oh god,
Glomtails just passes that. But
note to self: Phineas and Ferb and Milo's Murphy's Law reactions.
Ooh.
Also, if
Light
you look
bulb?
too, I know it's completely different, but there's two on an April Fool's Day where Grunkle Stan sings the themes to Star versus the Forces of Evil and Phineas and Ferb. So definitely, like these theme song takeovers, they always have their A game on.
Yeah,
but,
I definitely agree there.
Yeah. But yeah, obviously with Launchpad's theme song takeover, it's still very hilarious in its own right because you have Launchpad outside of the theme, but still within the theme, going through it, singing airplanes, 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 and then freaking just having the whole thing just start over again with big Launchpad and little Launchpad screaming at each other. I I'm just like ah it's great.
Oh god, I think we might have our top, like, but we'll see as we go. Disney theme song takeovers and Due Tonight are both fantastic. Um, then we just have one more thing to talk about for the original shorts, and that's Chibi Tiny Tales. Not much really to say about them. They're in the same vein as the Big Hero 6 Chibi shorts. And it's just a bunch of like little shorts like that could have been part of a regular episode, you know. For example, like, oh, let's go find a burrito, but we have to the Launchpad's on it with Webby, but he crashes every single vehicle. Or, you know, Diamond Dash, where Glomgold and Magica try to steal the dime, but Scrooge is sitting there because they stop each other. It's fun little shorts, but I don't really have much to say about them. Doug?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I mean, it's cute. It's you know, you get a few minutes of you know, little shorts with, you know, no dialogue. So it's just like, you know, it's all them reacting, and it's very over the top stuff, very comedic. They're cute. I laugh. Definitely the one with Magica and Glomgold both trying to steal Scrooge's number one dime is probably the most memorable one. Particularly, it's like all they're trying to, you know, do whatever to get the dime, and at one point freaking Glomgold licks it, and that just
And he's like, ugh, I don't want it anymore,
no.
but like
and now like
I can't believe that worked.
And kind of to the credit, it's like, yeah, Chibi Tiny Tales is kind of this thing where they can kind of even cross over with other properties. Like they finally have Amphibia and Owl House crossover at long last, even if it is just a little short, but it's cute. I like that. Obviously not DuckTales, but I think now they actually have a full-blown series, Chibi Tiny Tales, and they actually get like the all the actors from all those properties to come back and voice the characters. I haven't really.
And they
seen
also have
it,
Jungle Cruise and DuckTales.
yeah,
so
that's
it's
right.
Like...
Well, and here it is, the backside of water. What have I done with my life?
Launchpad's a tour guide on the Jungle Cruise ride.
Launchpad is the name.
And I'm doing 34
cats.
shows every day, and I crash them all the same.
I can sleep on the way over. Kat, what do you think?
I thought these were cute. Like I said, they're a prime example of, you know, being able to showcase the TV like medium, because, you know, it's all visual, like basically no dialogue, like little like squeaks now and then, but I find them cute. Like, well, was it Mayan Mayhem? Like, I love how they almost died like several million times, and then when they finally get the treasure, they release all the evils in the world, but they're just like, eh. Like, that was funny. Diamond Dash was easily the best because it's Magica versus Glomgold just fighting over the dime, and like, I love at one point they both try to woo the dime, and the dime ends up dying because he can't decide between the two of them. It's so random. And then of course Scrooge chases them all off with bagpipes. But I have enough hatred in my heart for 2 Scottish billionaires. Burrito Bash was cute. It was a nice little Webby Launchpad adventure where we see Launchpad crash basically everything trying to get to that giant burrito. Although I question how good that burrito is. Jungle Cruise Ride, Honestly, I won't lie, I remember that the least. I just kept singing the Jungle Cruise song while I was watching it, and that stuck out more to me than this short. But, they have the jokes there and everything, from the Jungle Cruise. So, yeah, like I said, it's a cute little series.
Yeah, it's cute. It's not like not my favorite, but like decent. What do you think, Eric?
Same here. Like it's cute. It's cute for what it's trying to do. I think the Diamond Dash one is probably my favorite, simply because of how silly it is between the two. It gets between Magica Dispel and Flintheart Glomgold, and it does kind of make me wish like this would have worked as a full episode. Just the two of them just trying to grab Scrooge's number one dime. But the other ones are like the rest of them. Like they're cute. I mean, they're cute for what they're trying to do. It's like it's chibi style, it's chibi art style. So like if you're into that sort of thing, great. But I mean, I thought it was okay.
All right, and before we bring it over to this Duckberg life, I would like to bring it over to another word from our sponsor. This is Kat with Shark Butlers. Kat, take it away.
Nom nom, nom 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 nom, nom 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 nom. Oh, sorry, I was pretending to be the shark nomming parkas. Sharks are people too. They deserve to be butlers if they want to. Shark rights.
Why is it illegal for them to teach sharks to butler? I don't get it.
That is bullshit. Boycott.
Anyway, let's dive into this final thing. This might take up a little bit longer than the shorts, but this Duckberg Life is a series of around 13-minute to 20-minute shorts. They tend to, vary in length. Some of them were, I think the longest was 20 minutes, but they are essentially podcasts, professional podcasts, not like ours. These are actually like kind of like a parody of This American Life or like Welcome to Night Vale, but it's just like, hey, let's have a public access radio show and we're going to tell tales of stuff that we didn't get a chance to talk about in the actual DuckTales Season 3. And so we have 7 different adventures that are all really interesting. Before we get into individual episodes, what are your initial thoughts, Eric?
I really liked the podcast. I thought it was very well done. It's because it reminds me of listening to like a lot of like old like radio shows from way back when, and like here like just being able to do it in. Just be able to do it with DuckTales, and also they also kind of each episode kind of structure. I mean, sure, there's like an Act 1, an Act 2, and Act 3, and the fake and the ad breaks in between, the so-called ad breaks. What I like is how it kind of the way they tell the story for each one is a little bit different each time. Like for example, like in the first one, like Adventure Calls, it's basically just all taken from Launchpad's answering machine. Like it's just told from the perspective of the answering machine, or with my personal favorite, the framing of Flintheart Glomgold. How it's basically like they do it in like this true crime detective style, where they're trying to figure out. Trying to prove Glomgold's innocence, because even though everything is set up like an actual crime that Glomgold would do, that turns out he was actually innocent. And the way they did it was actually pretty well done too. It was also that one was very well written. But yeah, they're trying to like there's some episodes where they're kind of like parodying other popular podcasts, and I like how they go about it that way.
Doug, what do you think?
So first off, I just want to say we're doing a podcast where we're talking about a podcast.
Podcast.
I mean, we
probably not the first.
We talk about the Scrubs podcast a lot, though. So
yeah, but we don't dive fully into that. I just kind of bring it up every now and then. This is like us legitimately talking about a series of podcasts, and we're going to be, that is our discussion. But I digress. Yeah, and what was I gonna say? Um,
Podcastception.
Podcastception.
That's what I
Um,
said.
yeah, no, I definitely this was definitely welcome, given that, just after DuckTales had ended, it's just like a couple weeks later they started posting these. We knew they were coming, so we were, that helped take the sting out of the show ending, so we could once again prolong the DuckTales exposure. Um, what you call it? Yeah, I definitely enjoy a lot of the styles. It's not really like my favorite thing. Although to be fair, I'd say a couple of these could be episodes of the series proper in their own right.
Oh yeah.
Like
Agreed.
we were saying with the Glomgold conspiracy episode. That one could be its own episode. Definitely, probably my favorite one. The one that follows Launchpad around while he's trying to
Out
look
to
for
Out
lunch.
to
Sal.
lunch.
Yeah,
Yes, that is a good one. I like that one.
That one was honestly that probably beats out the Glomgold episode as my favorite, just because it feels so complete. So I love, following Launchpad around as, getting kind of a, a glimpse into his mind of how he works. He's almost kind of neurodivergent when you think about it, because he's a creature of habit, lives on impulse, and it's like if that is broken, he kind of dives into semi chaos almost. And it has a really nice, story to it, and the ending, I absolutely love that. And it's more, again to Launchpad, basically in his own way helping out other characters. Um, but yeah, like you have the episodes where like you're basically a whole episode from the recordings of Launchpad's answering machine. You have a story where we go into the testing of one of Gyro's products. We have an episode where we tried to find out about the bark beetle, but instead it's all commercials by Louis, which honestly that's probably like the best addition to all these is, all the ads that they put in, the fake ads.
Yes.
I like
I mean,
I like the Louis sells out one simply because with all the commercials simply because it gives an excuse for like a lot of the side characters to just kind of jump in and do their thing. They even had Ottoman Empire come back.
My favorite is Glomgold, who couldn't get in through a single evil scheme without revealing it. Like, while recording, he's just like, take that, Screws. Wait a second, I don't have your money yet. Damn it.
And honestly, like, despite the fact that this comes out after the show has ended, the way they set it up, it could be at any point in the series. Because it's really just like, aside from one episode mentioning Magic at Dispel, everybody that shows up in it is basically characters from the first season.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's like it's episodes that could have aired at any point, and I feel
Exactly.
like they probably had these scripts saved for something, and then they decided to use it here.
Exactly.
But Kat, what do you think?
Honestly, this like brought back kind of a deja vu for me as a kid. Because when my grandmother used to watch me, she was actually really into radio dramas, and the one she used to listen to the most was called The Shadow. It's a radio drama from the 50s, and she would actually play it for us while we were, settling down for the night, and we'd listen to it as we fell asleep. And to me, that's what this kind of reminded me of. Like I'm back in my grandma's house just like listening to these adventures and stuff. And it's like I don't even need a TV screen. I can just see it all perfectly in my head. So this was really nice. And especially because these are like done so well in the style of DuckTales. Like the guy said, these could all easily be their own episodes of DuckTales, like any of the seasons. And I mean, you get pretty much the best bits that you like of DuckTales. You have an episode that features Gyro's inventions going evil. You have an episode that features Louie being a conniving bastard. You have Scrooge and the kids trying to seek out this treasure by going through this like impossible test. You have Flintheart Glomgold shenanigans. You have Launchpad shenanigans. And then, of course, you have an appearance by character actress Margot Martindale. It's like, what more could you want?
My mom has this thing. I don't know what type of radio, but she has, I think it's XFM or something like that, where Sirius XM, where she gets radio classics. And on the way, on the drive up from like Rhode Island to their condo, basically they rent out, they have a second home up in I guess it's a condo, a series of condos up there. But like we would listen to the radio classics, and it's just like always like that type of thing, and like you'd have stuff like this. This feels very old school. I love podcasts like this. I wouldn't create podcasts like this because I don't have the money. I don't have the money for soundboards or anything like that. But I like how this just tries new things, like Adventure Calls, all from Launchpad's answering machine, which answer your damn messages, Launchpad. Or Out to Lunch, where we find out that Launchpad, oh no, a stop sign factory. How does he still have his license if he keeps like crashing into all these stop signs? I don't get. So like these are really funny, and I think they do a great job. Like they're only like 20 minutes, so altogether is like maybe 2 hours to get everything. I think the compilation's like an hour and 45 or something like that. But like it's just a lot of fun to put in the background, and even stuff like the Narratron 3000, like I thought was okay. But it was still funny because like you delve into other characters that wouldn't normally be there, and then you have Donald doing the credits for every episode.
God, like don't get me wrong, I love Donald. He's like my favorite character on the show, and I love Tony Ensemble, like how he's able to do Donald and stuff. But I won't lie, that it was like super fucking hard to listen to Donald go through those credits at the end of every single podcast. And I get that
I ended up skipping it.
And I get that's the joke because, his voice is so awful, like especially for a medium where it's all audio, but it's like I really had to either like cover my ears or like do my best to ignore it, just to this constant screeching. And the fact that he's pronouncing people's real names kind of took me out of it too a little bit. Like I know he sprinkled commentary now and then, like saying like, "Oh, this is ridiculous," or "Oh, I know that person, he's cool." But it's like at the same time,
or Sam Riegel again.
But it's like at the same time, it's like, do I need to keep hearing this? Like my ears are bleeding. Like, Donald, I love you, but why do you sound so awful?
So awful!
So, yeah, I had a lot of fun with this one. I think, this was probably the highlight of the shorts, and, like, the fact that we got to continue the adventures, have more adventures. Let's talk briefly about these individually and talk about how we feel about them. The first one, Adventure Calls, is told from Launchpad's answering machine. Basically, they go to Funzo's Fun Zone, where fun is in the zone. And they get kidnapped for ransom by the Beagle Boys. And the whole thing is them trying to call Launchpad and get him to help. And the Beagle Boys are calling for ransom like 50 times, and he doesn't answer. And they escape. They have adventures in another dimension, and they get back, and Launchpad's like, "Oh, hey, I have to go pick up them from Funzo's." I'm like, it's a fun episode, but Launchpad, god damn it, answer your messages.
And I like he calls himself later just to remind himself to do stuff.
Launchpad, remember, answer your answering machine.
By the way, I love how it's also. I love how it's like around the time of 2017, and he still has an answering machine. Like, how many people do you know in that year, or even this like now, that still have answering machines?
I mean, I have it on my phone, but even then, like, most of the
It's
time we get a lot of, like,
voicemail,
yeah, voicemail. So, yeah. But still, like, it's ridiculous. This is a fun episode. What did you think, Kat?
Quick question. He has a lot, like, how does he have so much memory on that answering machine? Like, seriously, but like, my family's answering machine, we'd get, like, 6 calls and it'd say it was full. Like, he must have, like, state-of-the-art answering machines. Anyway, sorry. I mean, this was a nice one to start. Like I said, the format of being mostly through the voicemails, like it painted a nice picture, and it steadily got funnier the more it went on. Not not my favorite. Like, I didn't think it was the best one to start off with in terms of format. Because, it's mostly just, like, that. Like, when you hear a radio drama or something, you expect just to hear the people, not so much, recordings of stuff. But even so, like I said, I still very much enjoyed it, especially where it led toward the end. Because it's like, you have Launchpad start off being like, oh, hey, I did this, and then this happened. Just warning you for the future, Launchpad. And then it's at the end, he's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to go off to pick you guys up now.
Completely ignoring the fact that they're right outside the front door.
Yep.
Oh my god. Like, and the fact that, like, wait, how do we get cell reception in this dimension? Oh, that got us out of this dimension. Doug, what do you think?
Yeah, and I think the concept is very clever. Playing around with how you tell the story, definitely. I'd argue probably this is a better one to start off with, just to show off that they're doing something different with how they tell the story. And basically, because it's all audio, everything has to be exposition. We can't really do too much visual aside from show those stills in the background where you can kind of see what's going on. But yeah, it's like you have to wait for that part of the audio to hit before you realize, okay, so that's what that picture is of.
Well, see, it's kind of like listening to our podcast where we have, like, random jokes that they won't get until they actually watch the episode.
That's chaos.
Like Mama Cosma and that one title card.
But yeah, no. Again, like Kat said, definitely not my favorite, but I do appreciate what they're doing. I do. It does. Probably doesn't need to be that long, but it does what it needs to do.
Eric,
I just like how it's. I just like the format to start off with, which is just a series of answering machines and how it paints a picture. I also like how eventually at one point the Beagle Boys just kind of like they're just like,
are we calling too much?
Yes, are we calling too much? I feel like we're calling too much.
Don't we don't know where they are, but that doesn't mean that we don't still have them.
But that doesn't mean you still owe us money. You still need to give us the ransom money.
I love Big Time so much. Like, Big Time is one of my favorite characters, especially because, like, he would totally botch it like this.
As pet edition. By the way, I just wanted to mention this real quick, because the person who directed all these shorts, the one who's constantly getting mentioned, Sam Riegel, fun fact, he's also a voice actor, and he's most well known for voicing Donatello in the 2003 Ninja Turtles, and Phoenix Wright in the Ace Attorney games.
Hold it!
Wow.
So this guy's been around the block, and he knows comedy.
Take that!
Yeah, he does know his comedy.
Objection!
The next one is Narratron 3000. This is one that I could take or leave. I think it's a good one. Having a gyro episode, but a lot of it is just stuff we've seen before, because it's just gyro demonstrates a latest invention that is able to read minds, but it gains sentience and attempts to take over Huey's body and melt his brain to take over his body to take over the world.
Of course.
Like you do. Of course. Doug, what are your thoughts on the Narratron 3000?
Yeah, I mean, it's it's another one where the concept kind of overstays its welcome a bit, because it's like honestly, what's good is how they kind of go through each of the characters and what's on their minds. Like you have Beakley, you have Glomgold, and you have Scrooge, and it's nice,
I do like how Glomgold is secretly like pining for Scrooge.
Yeah, I mean that's fairly obvious.
Yeah.
I like
More Scottish than you, Helmet.
you are not
Like-
Scottish. I love how
But
they
it's
play.
like you-
Sorry.
But it's like, yeah, it's like once we get to the main crux of it with Huey testing it out, it does kind of stop dead. And I mean, yeah, it is, the typical gyro gear loose creates a thing, and it inevitably turns evil and, becomes the villain of everything. And then, like, they fix it, and it's better, maybe. But, yeah, I mean that it kind of, it's like I said, I think it would have been better if maybe they could have gotten more characters to come in. I think what would have worked best is have Donald in this episode. And have like
Yes.
a completely different, kind of going off of what we've done in the series before, is have it be like a completely different voice actor as his thoughts. But I mean, obviously that is the case because it is like a female voice. But seriously, that's a very missed opportunity there.
I mean, like it's a good first part of the episode, and I think like the thoughts and stuff are great, and it does have suspense, but obviously Huey's narrating this, so like there's no tension. So like it kind of falls flat halfway through. What do you think, Eric?
I mean, this is something like it's something that we haven't already seen before with Gyro. And like, oh, he made an invention and it turns evil. It's like yeah. So what else is new? But
So it's a Tuesday.
yeah, so Tuesday. But like, I do like how like it does start off strong with the different characters and how they're what's going on in their minds, and then once it becomes sentient, it's like okay, we kind of see where the rest of how the rest of the episode goes, and yeah, to Doug's point, yeah, Huey is narrating the whole thing, so of course they escape. But then again, that's also kind of the same problem with another episode later on, but we'll get to that. But overall, I thought it was. I mean, it's fine, but it's like, yeah, we've seen this before.
And what do you think, Kat?
Honestly, I felt like they should have went with a different ending for this, because when Huey mentioned that the way to defeat the helmet was to not think, they should have just stuck it on Launchpad's head.
Yes.
But wait,
breathe
but they
in.
already had Launchpad in the beginning.
I know.
No, I
they
forgot to breathe.
I know, they preempted too early. I felt like they should have saved him for later, and that would have been the logical solution to it. Like, don't get me wrong, I thought it was funny when, they had him, like, voicing how he's trying to, like, purposely breathe and everything, but I don't know, they could have done that afterwards or something. It just, I don't know. I felt like this just could have been a little bit better. Again, it's not bad, but it's not the best.
Adding to what I said
Yeah.
before, have Donald be the one that gets his mind read, and the way they defeat it is basically he overwhelms it with his rage.
It's just like,
Or
frag
he
it,
gets
frag it,
knocked
frag it,
out.
frag it.
Like he gets so unlucky that a rock falls on his head or something. So yeah, like this one I think might be the one of the weakest. Yeah, probably the weakest of all of them. Not that it's bad, it's just like you can see where it's going. Episode 3, Louis Sells Out, is the commercial episode with ever increasing commercials, where it starts off normal with Ottoman Empire, and then the villains with Mark Beeks, and then it goes to Glomgold. Kat, what do you think?
I won't lie, this one really annoyed me. Like, like, I knew Louis would pull this shit, but, like, him just constantly interrupting with, like, the commercials. And don't get me wrong, those commercials were great. I thoroughly enjoyed them, but, like, I just kept getting frustrated because this reminds me so much of that horrible era of YouTube. It was after, what was that site? The one that all the YouTubers used to go on? Like Blip or something?
Yes.
Rever.
Yeah, it was after Blip shut down and everyone had to move fully onto YouTube, and this was before the days of Patreon. So the only way that the YouTubers could make the money they used to was to put like 1 million ads throughout their videos. Like, I shit you not, I watched Phaelus, and there was one video where he ran no less than 20 ads, and the only way you could get past that was if you, like, paid to sponsor him or something. But I just remember being so fucking annoyed, and it's like, I tried not to use ad blocker during that time because I wanted to support all the YouTube artists and stuff, but that amount of frequency, like, instantly made me, like, hit the ad blocker thing, because... Like, and that's pretty much what this felt like. It's just constant ad blocker throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, it does get a little bit annoying with that, but at the same time, I thought the commercials, especially from the villains, the Beagle Boys, like, let us steal from your house and test your security system, or Glomgold, where in the middle, he just, like, drops Trow, and he's just like, hey, Scrooge, this is an evil scheme. I'm like, you could get 5 minutes.
I just love the sponsors become increasingly evil as they go on.
Yes.
And Mark Beeks was funny too. Okay, so Eric, what do you think?
Yes, to Kat's point, I do like how the commercials become more and more evil as time progresses into the episode, and we never did find out about all the fun facts of the Duckberg bark beetle. And
well, we'll have time after this podcast, which is right now.
and then eventually it's like, oh, we're out of time. What? Because of course that's how it ends. But I like how it brings back all the different like side characters for like different ads and stuff. Although I will say this is not the best Mark Beeks ad in this one, because he does come back again with a different ad in one of the later episodes. I think it's in the second to last or last one where he comes back. Where he comes back again, they do like a Firefest parody or whatever, which I think is.
Oh yeah, they did the Firefest where it turns into Prison Fest, Feather Fest,
just like the real Firefest. But
how much are tickets? 1 million. And how much is bail? Oh, that's how much a ticket costs.
And we have cheese, but you're gonna have to bring your own food and drink. Sorry.
But like I said, I like how they bring back a bunch of side characters to throw in commercial ads, and of course it ends with them not being able to say anything about the Duckberg bark beetle. So sadness.
And Doug.
Yes, I wanted to learn all about the Duckberg bark beetle. I wanted to know
what kind of bark does it eat.
It ate. Its habits. Where does it live? No. But yeah, I definitely a fun episode. Especially with like Louis trying to con him, and the first thing is like, we're all this is going to a funding for Louis' kids. It's like, hey, isn't Louis' kids like under investigation by the FBI?
In 49 states. So wait, which state is
allegedly?
But it begs the question: which state is he not under investigated? Like, which state is not investigating Louis?
Alaska and Hawaii.
Wherever the Simpsons are.
No, I think it's Alaska and Hawaii because those aren't like connected.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, I didn't pick up on how the ads are becoming increasingly more and more evil. Because my interpretation of ads is that they already are evil. Ha-cha-cha! Zing!
Waha!
Unnecessary evil, though.
Yeah. but honestly, like, some of those were funny. Like, I definitely love the Beagle Boys trying to pretend to be, like, the security, home security testers. As like, I am a real homeowner.
Speaking of ads, it is now time for a commercial break with our sponsor, Y2 Staller and Y2 Staller Flakes.
Every morning, I like to have Y2 Staller Flakes so I can be my tallest. Y2 Staller Flakes. Reach for the moon, where Della is.
I'm Y2
Um,
I'm Y2 Staller, and I hardly endorse this product and or event.
but Zen, I think we're out of time because we sold this time to Flintheart Glomgold so he could rent out the studio.
Oh, really? Ha ha ha, I returned.
Now it's time for my podcast. How I'm the best duck in the world.
Well, anyway, moving on, we have episode 4, which is Ghost Library, which is a typical adventure. A specific library only appears for 13 minutes every 100 years, and it contains books of your dreams. So any books that you dream up are there. And they have to go through Ghost Library. It's my kind of library because, I am a ghost bunny, and I run a ghost gaming library, so I approve of this message. And it is their job to go in, find a specific book, and not get stuck there. But there's rules. If you speak too loud, you'll be banished from the library. Kat, what do you think?
This one to me felt like more of a typical episode because I could definitely see them like doing this, and it does create some good suspense because it's like you just put sorry, because if your voice is like just an octave too loud, you just go, and I love like Launchpad just gets like poofed immediately. But it does lead to a creative solution to how Webby gets out of it at the end, because she does get so close, but realizes it's just an impossible trap, but thankfully she doesn't get herself trapped there. Weird choice going with Magellan, though, but, whatever. He's an explorer, so I guess it makes sense. I don't know, just kind of weird to me. It was a nice... Birdgellan, excuse me. But yeah, it was nice to see this from Webby's perspective since she is the historian here besides Huey. So yeah, this was I thought was a fun one. Again, this could easily be an episode.
Oh wait, excuse me. It's
I also like that they brought
Yes,
Ferdinand Magellan. Ferdinand Magellan. I also really love that they brought Quackfester finally, and she spends a lot of time just listing off parody authors.
I feel like the writers had way too much fun with that, and they just couldn't bear to cut any of it.
Yeah. Oh, you're still going. I had a lot of fun with this episode. It's a standard episode, but it's clever solution. I like how the book was basically kept in the library because the greatest treasure was how to get into Scrooge's duck vault. So, it's a lot of fun. What do you think, Eric?
To Kat's point, yes. When I first listened to this, I'm like, yeah, this definitely sounds like an actual DuckTales episode. Like this was definitely an episode that they wanted to do but got cut. And so it's like, oh, of course it appears for 13 minutes because the episode is about 13 minutes long. So there's your frame. So there's your framing device. Let's see. I mean, yes, it is a bit weird. To Kat's point, also, it is a bit weird that they picked Ferdinand Magellan as the ghost or whatever of the library. But I do like how Webby is the one who ends up finding the book and figures out how to get out of there because if you speak too loud, you get sucked out of the library. I love how it's just you just get removed from the library, not you get trapped in the library jail or something. It's just nope, you just leave. So it's okay. So it's no harm, no foul.
This is not a Donna Noble situation.
I know.
Although I was surprised that the ghost didn't go with her when she poofed, because he mentioned that he'd been trapped there forever, so it's well, why didn't he just do what she did and just poof his way out? Unless he was there too long or something. And I thought by virtue of grabbing her, he would have just went with her, and it would have been oh, hey, I'm out here, and everyone's like, ah!
That could have worked. What do you think, Mr. Doug?
Yeah, no, this definitely feels in terms of the structure, it definitely feels like an episode of the series proper. I definitely clever. I like the idea that it's it's a library that's not just full of like all of the greatest works, but things that haven't been imagined. But if you imagine it, it can exist. So that is a really, really clever concept. I wish they could have done more with that, but obviously, they had their MacGuffin at the end that they had to work with.
I also like how they use the MacGuffin, like the ghosts are whispering, and they're like, "Can you speak up? I can't hear you." And they do, and they poof.
Yeah, it feels almost like the library in Avatar: The Last Airbender, just minus the giant owl beast. Uh, but
Which the owl beast is probably the same owl beast that is in the owl house. Fan theory.
hoot hoot.
Funny they go in the library and they meet Hootie. What a twist!
But yeah, I mean that always feels interesting about like any sort of fiction where they'll write a library and it's sort of this big, larger than life thing with all sorts of rules to it. Obviously, the rule that all libraries follow, be quiet or else. Quiet!
Quiet!
This is a library!
This is a library!
People are
Quiet!
trying to study!
God, and now for more vital information for your everyday life.
A penny saved is a penny earned, and a penny earned will buy you absolutely nothing.
Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, and no one cared.
God, I miss all that so much.
But
this
yeah,
is a great
the only
one.
thing is, I felt like the end kind of made me mad because all along, the thing that they're trying to get is a map to Scrooge's money bin. Like,
Yeah.
I know basically they were trying to stop anybody else from finding potentially the library and finding that, but nonetheless, it's like also another when you think about it, it's like the fact that you can come up with something that hasn't even been thought of, and it will appear in the library, kind of defeats the purpose of them taking that for themselves.
Yeah, true. It'd be easier to take instead of the ghost library out of his bin.
Yeah, I mean,
But,
I know
yeah.
it's convoluted to even get into the library in the first place, and it's almost a fool's errand, but it can be done.
This is kind of like an
Well-
extension of that one episode with the vault where he had like Louie and Della try to go through it and like try to get through the traps, and they just keep lucking out.
Oh,
Did Scrooge
God.
ever buy lunch?
No, he did not buy lunch. No, wait, he did. He bought the birthday. The birthday, he paid for it. All right, now we come to some of the best episodes in the podcast. So, like, the earlier ones I liked, but the next few are just some of my favorite. Episode 5 is The Framing of Flintheart Glomgold, and this is told like a film noir detective as Huey investigates Glomgold's innocence. And it's amazing because, like, someone uses drones to drop sharks into Scrooge's new water park, and you're like, yeah, that has Glomgold written all over it, but it's like, wait a second, Glomgold doesn't know how to run drones, and, like, there's this whole big thing, and the whole time I'm thinking, what's going to be the misdirection? And I'm like, Mark Beeks shows up initially, and I'm just like, it's probably him, but then they show Big Tech Beagle, and I'm like, oh, you got me. But then they bring it right back around, and it's like, they do some like really good red herrings here. I think this is one of my favorite episodes, especially the way that ends with Magica asking Huey for help. So, Eric, what do you think?
Like I said, I love the way, it's funny how we mentioned earlier that Sam Riegel was the voice actor for Phoenix Wright, because this is very much like a Phoenix Wright type episode, because going around trying to investigate, trying to prove somebody's innocence. So very apropos. But I love how, anything with Flintheart Glomgold, I'm kind of biased with this, is that anything with Flintheart Glomgold is just brilliant. It's just hilarious. It always puts a smile on my face.
And it always will be.
Yes. But I do, but to but to Doug's point, I do like their use of misdirection here, because you think it's going to be like, oh, it's this way, but it's not. But it even got to a point where, wait a minute, what if it really was Glomgold? Just happened to work out, because especially when they got to the place with the sharks, where Glomgold bought the sharks from, and then they find out, like, oh, maybe he did do it, but until they realize, no, it's a wrong type of shark. And that was the big thing that kind of threw that changed everything, was the sharks that they used wouldn't be the kind of sharks that
are indigenous or available.
Were available because Glomgold used different sharks, because he was using a different set of sharks to turn them into shark butlers, so that they could infiltrate.
Shark butlers.
But I love Glomgold's plan with this, is that he says, I'm going to take the sharks and I'm going to make them into shark butlers, and they're going to work there for several years. and then one day he's going to, like, betray them, and then they'll, like, wait, years? Like, how long are the shark butlers going to be working at this water park? Like 3 years, 4 years? Like, how many? What was the long-term plan? What was the long-term goal of this?
Well, it's like the volcano plan, like the several-year scheme of getting, like, Scrooge in on it, and then finally getting rid of him in the volcano. Like, he has plans within plans. This was too simple for Glomgold.
But the shark butlers had to work for several years.
What do you think?
How long?
Yeah, of course. And like Eric said, I'm ultimately biased towards any episode that has Flintheart Glomgold as the focus.
Flint Gold Heart Glom.
Blah, 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 blah. Duke Baloney. But yeah, no, like I said, I'm very biased towards episodes like that. And this, like I said, if not for the next episode, this would have been my favorite of the podcast episodes. But oh my god, it's just it's like you said, it's that crime drama, investigating everything. You find out we get to meet Glomgold Shark Guy, or Shark Girl in this case, so his distributor of sharks. It is interesting that that the whole thing winds up getting undone because it's actually the wrong type of shark, and that the distributor does not readily carry because it's rare and it's not in that particular part of the world.
Because
and that's what's
Mark
ultimately
Beeks has to do
Beeks
everything
undoing, yeah.
extra.
And it's like
he has to do it. Tiger Sharks.
and it basically Beeks connives his way into selling his products on the podcast. It's like, and finally, like, Huey just realizes it and he cuts it off there. I love the fact that, like, everybody just knows immediately, yeah, the Glomgold's guilty, and his way of coping while in prison is to play the bagpipes and
Do the prisoners like the bagpipes?
No, they hate them.
Do the prisoners like haggis?
Like, well, we definitely know nobody likes haggis. but his way of coping and staying safe is to make the prisoners his other prisoners as miserable as possible.
I'm surprised he didn't get
so
shanked by the end.
What do you think, Kat? Do you think that you would enjoy the haggis in jail?
Ew, no.
I might.
I don't even like it outside of jail.
I mean, we have it on Robbie Burns, but still.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But, no, this is great. This is a great mystery, and it kept you guessing, too. It's like, on the one hand, the answer should be obvious, given the framing of it, but they provide enough, like, red herrings and clues and stuff where, it really does make you second guess it, given how Glomgold actually is. I do like that they actually use, like, factual information to confirm, Glomgold's innocence, because here's the thing, leopard sharks and tiger sharks really do look nothing alike, Because leopard sharks have spots and only grow up to 4 feet long, whereas tiger sharks can grow up to 16 feet long and have stripes. So, yeah.
Also, he's his own shark guy. While he does buy from Sheila, we saw him taming sharks. He is his own shark guy. He would know.
Exactly. So I appreciate that as a shark person. So, but yeah, and him just constantly trolling the inmates, that was great. But again, I question why he didn't get shanked at all during his stay. And I love that even after his proven innocence, he goes right back to doing crime, and he fails at it.
Now, here's the thing. Here's what I don't get. Like, obviously, the plot for On Scrooge's Life is illegal, but he gets arrested for trying to have sharks trained to be butlers. How is that illegal?
Animal cruelty. Not to mention, sharks are kind of endangered, so there's that.
Look, he speaks shark, okay? He gave them sharkas.
I just love, like... I do... There was one thing that I found a little off, though, because when you think about it, in a lot of episodes, people kind of give, like, the impression that they're used to this shit from Glomgold. So when he does another one of his evil shenanigans, no one really bats an eye. But in this episode specifically, a lot of people are just calling for his head. And, like, I'm like, okay, so he's definitely going to be innocent in this because he was competent enough to actually get people pissed off. So, there you go. There's your proof that he's innocent.
True.
Well, I
true.
think normally it's a lot of the things that potentially, harm or, cause any sort of bodily harm to anybody are accidents by Glomgold, whereas he's in this case, it's a shark attack. This is like it feels like it's instigated by somebody versus, just ineptitude.
Yeah, like,
which again
the
is
fact that
not
he succeeded was
Glomgold's modus
plus
operandi.
This is the first time. Plus, it's like the first time he actually sharks near guests of a water park. That's dangerous.
Like the only one that Glomgold actively seeks to harm is Scrooge. Anybody else is just an unfortunate bystander.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like this episode. This is probably my favorite episode. I know the next one is many people's favorite, but the next one is Out to Lunch, in this episode where Launchpad gives us an episode of his everyday life where he slams into stop signs, into a stop sign factory, and he gets a burrito, same place every day, but it's replaced by a sushi place, and he finds a friend as the drive-thru guy, and he gives him a sushi burrito off menu, and I want a sushi burrito now. He inspires the guy to make his own food truck, because he makes some really cool creations, and I'm like, this is a really heartwarming episode. And like Doug was saying, I really like how it showcases him kind of as this neurodivergent person. Like, if he does things, he remembers things in a certain way, but the thing is, when you're driving, remembering to do reverse isn't always the same for where you are. So I feel like having that person helping, it was just so heartwarming, and the fact that he loves the sushi burrito, he's trying new things, it's really great. Doug?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I already kind of talked about it, and we, said it, but honestly, this episode itself it feels like an episode of the show proper. It feels like this was something they probably wanted to write, and just never got around to it. So, I mean, yeah, it might only be audio, but they do the absolute best that they can with it. And it's like, if you're to, try to recommend at least one episode of the podcast to anybody, this is the one. This is absolutely the one I would recommend. It's just a complete story. The fact that it's very character focused on Launchpad. It's like I can't quite fully explain what it is that makes this episode so great, but I definitely have a lot of arguments for why it is a good episode.
cat.
Yeah, this episode was fantastic, showing Launchpad at his, launch paddiest, basically. I do have some questions, though. One, is his colon made of steel? Because how do you eat burritos every freaking day and not shit yourself to death after that? And
He's
second,
a duck.
second, for someone who eats a lot of junk food, how is he so friggin' swole? Like, seriously, we never see him work out or anything, but he's in, fantastic shape despite what he eats. Like, does he have, a metabolism like the Flash? Like, what the hell? I envy him.
The answer is magic and magic.
Okay, we'll go with that. He crashes carbs.
Well, he does. Well, his employer is surrounded by magical items, so who knows?
True. He probably swallowed something unknowingly, and it just keeps him in perfect shape forever.
I swallowed this burrito that apparently helps me digest things. It's called Tums.
But yeah, this definitely shows Launchpad at his best. It's it's a bit frustrating to see him, lose his shit over, the slightest change, but you can understand why, because he's a simpleton. He knows what he likes, and then any change, he just outright panics. To him, change is a bad thing, even though he goes on all these sporadic adventures and stuff. So, it's frustrating, but it's relatable, so I can understand it. And I like that through his influence, unknowingly, he makes other people's lives better. And it goes with the theme of him being a hero without really trying to be a hero. That's Launchpad in a nutshell. So it kind of goes with his arc at the end of the series. But yeah, it was wholesome. His whole friendship
with Sal.
What was with Sal? That was just so brilliant. And then Sal was so touched, he named his food truck after him, the
lunch pad.
Yeah.
Should I tell him that it's spelled wrong? No. Let him
have this one. Let him have this one.
But yeah,
Eric,
this was so great.
I agree. This is a very heartwarming episode, and this is like a Launchpad episode that we never expected, or never thought we would be able to see, because when we think of a Launchpad only episode, the first thing that comes to my mind is all of Launchpad's ex-girlfriends who it's like Sheila, I will never forget you. And he goes off on this he goes off on this all other adventure that we don't know about. And and it leaves us wondering.
And we never will.
So you would think they would do that in one of the podcast episodes, but no. But I like this one better because it's heartfelt. It's heartfelt, and it's I like the chemistry with Launchpad and Sal, and how he gets him to try new stuff, and trying to imagine what sushi burrito would taste like now, because I'm
I want it. I
gotta figure out how to make it.
Talk to
Babish. A really spicy sushi roll, if I had to guess.
What is this stuff that this Coke tastes sour? That's soy sauce. I'm gonna put that in my burrito.
This guacamole's really
want it.
This guacamole's really spicy. That's wasabi.
One thing I find very interesting is that, when Sal goes missing, he, Launchpad goes to all these other businesses. And, why would he be there? I mean, unless he gets a completely different job. But the fact that, none of them have anybody named Sal working there at all, that's kind of interesting.
Really? There's
it's not the most common name, but...
But just probability-wise, there's no other place that happens to have a guy named Sal. I was kind of waiting for that, too. I was waiting for, what if there is a Sal that shows up, wait a minute, you're not my Sal. You're not my Sal. You're the
it's not like they were in Little Italy or anything, where that name would be more common. I'm sure if he went to a pizza joint, he might run into a Sal or two.
There's not a lot of drive-through pizza joints, though, so...
Imposter Sal!
What's his last name? Oh, Manella. Well, he is dealing with raw food products.
It's true. I won't lie. Some of those things did sound good though, and I speak as someone who doesn't eat fish. So yeah, I wouldn't mind if like binging with Babish actually like made some of those recipes. I doubt they will, but I am curious to see how they would be made.
I just want a sushi burrito. Like, legitimately, I want one, and I want to get sushi now. I did get paid. I might have enough to get some sushi burritos. But in any case, before we move on to our final episode of the day, our final sponsorship is by... Oh, I'm being told we're not actually sponsored by Mountain Dew Code Red, but I want to. Mountain Dew, if you hit us up, sponsor our show.
Do the do.
I love Code Red. And I have Code Red right here. But also, the next episode is Beagle Day. This is probably one of the better episodes, but one of the weaker of the three that we're talking about. I like this a lot. It feels like it could be a standard episode, but I don't like it quite as much as, like, Ghost Library, The Framing, or Out to Lunch. The basic idea is that the Beagle Boys steal Scrooge's hat, according to this thing, but it's wrong because they don't really steal. They are sold Scrooge's top hat, in which he keeps the deed to Duckberg. And Louie and Webby infiltrate their Beagle Day celebration to retrieve it. The Wikipedia article is wrong. But anyway, what did you think about this one, Kat?
Like you said, it wasn't the best one. The first two were definitely a lot stronger, and this kind of feels a lot like those other episodes where they inadvertently have to infiltrate, like, the Beagle's junkyard. Like, think the episode where we first meet Lena, or the episode with the magic lamp. It kind of feels a lot like that. I did get major, like, entertainment out of the fact that they have a whole festival dedicated to burning an effigy of Scrooge, though. Like, that was funny. Like, that reminded me of, what was that movie with Nick Cage?
The Wicker Man.
The Wicker Man, yeah. They basically pull a Wicker Man in terms of, like, you know, giving him the middle finger.
Not the bees! Not the bees!
How to get burned! How to get burned!
This is one of those episodes where I would love to have seen this, like, visually, like, have them as an actual episode of Beagle Day where we get to see the giant Scrooge and they try to do like the Wicker Man type thing where it's like they get where Webby gets trapped to try to in an attempt to get Scrooge's hat. It's like and it's burning and the fire is already starting to creep up or whatever.
You want to see children get burned? You're a sick man.
How to get burned. And it's like, I do like the escalation though, because like the whole time we're listening to this professor talk about the Beagle Boys, and it turns out it's a beagle in disguise trying to get the backstab Beagle, and he gets the podcast
from a mile away.
And it's great. And then they end it with like them getting the podcast stuff back. So like it's a fun episode. I like the escalation. I just feel like it is predictable. Doug, any thoughts?
Yeah, no, like basically what Kat said. It feels basically like they're doing Beagle Birthday Massacre again, only, you know, with instead of coming in as themselves, they come in like in disguise this time. But yeah, aside from that, not a whole lot new. Yeah, you do kind of see the backstab Beagle coming from a mile away. But it is, you know, at least you have him there to kind of explain things. It is once he starts referring to her as Ma, it's like, okay, we know exactly where this is going.
I just love he steals the podcast material at the
end. Ma wants to be on a podcast.
Dude, I would so listen to that. Like, honestly, that is one of the bright spots of this episode. We get character actress Margot Martindale voicing Ma again. And she's just delightful in everything she's in.
Yes.
By the way, I should mention the irony of us recording this particular segment today.
Yes.
Because for those of you out there who don't know, at the time of this podcast, there was an incident in the news that happened over in Old Bridge, New Jersey, close to where we all live. And it basically what happened is that somebody dumped between 300 and 500 pounds of pasta into a river. And if you watch BoJack Horseman, you know exactly where this is going and what we are referencing. So I just want to point that out.
Somebody call Mr.
Oh,
Peanut
God.
Butter. We're going to need some strainers.
Yes.
I know. I was immediately thinking that. Of just like, wait a minute, wasn't this in an episode of BoJack Horseman?
Yep.
And like I haven't seen BoJack Horseman, but we are also recording this on Cinco de Mayo, which for one of my editors, Tifa, is Mexican. It isn't the day of Mexican independence like a lot of people think.
It's
just kind of
it's celebrating
month
a small victory in one town over the French.
In Pueblo.
Yeah, in Pueblo.
Yeah.
And
and
it's a very overblown holiday.
And most
It's an
people don't
excuse to
celebrate
drink.
it. They have it like a month of celebration, but I have taken to calling it as a joke Mexican Pride Day because my editor Tifa, like during her episode, she's like puts the Mexican pride flag and she like does some things because I'm just like, you should be in the episode too. You're the editor. So happy Mexican Pride Day, Tifa.
Happy Mexican Pride Day.
Eric, what are your thoughts?
And also, for those who don't know, Mexican Independence Day is in September. So
Yes.
just wanted to throw that out there.
Yes.
But to Kat's point, I agree. The Beagle Day episode does kind of remind me of the Beagle Birthday Bash episode that we saw back in season 1. And it's just kind of like another reworking, another excuse to get the gang into the Beagle junkyard just so they can try to grab something back one last time. And I do like that we do have character actress Margot Martindale again. That's like that because that was another thing I was kind of disappointed on with this whole podcast run was like they didn't really get any big voice actors per se, or to get any of them to come back. Get any of them to come back apart from Margot Martindale as Ma Beagle. Like I thought there would be more, but then again, this was like near the very end of the end of the DuckTales run, so it was like kind of I guess it was.
Yeah, you were lucky if you got like Scrooge and whatnot, but like I do like that they got Mark Beeks for the Firefest parody and Prison Fest here,
Yes.
and Glom Gold is always a delight. It's hard to get like the full cast back, and it sucks that they didn't get why am I forgetting his name? The butler, the actor's name, Ghost Butler.
Why am I... David K.
We got it. David K. As you all know, this podcast is David K. approved. We should have gotten David
Yes.
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 Before we end off, any final things for this episode?
Honestly, it wasn't a bad thing to rewatch some of these. I know some of them were purely promotional, but the ones that they put effort into, they really put effort into. Like, you can see where the most love goes into, like, with each segment. And honestly, given they were able to still continue this, even after the show is done, is, like, still pretty impressive. And I feel like if given the chance, they still would have enough material to continue DuckTales if they wanted to, or if they could. And it kind of gives me hope for the future that maybe, just maybe, we might see a comeback for this show. I hope.
Still waiting on that Darkwing Duck spinoff.
We say this every time, but it's still true. Where is the spinoff?
You have a They did a backdoor pilot. Let's Get Dangerous was the backdoor pilot for the Darkwing Duck.
For you. It's gift wrapped.
I know.
Last year we had a Darkwing cameo in that horrid Chip and Dale movie.
Yeah, where they said he'd never get his own movie. Way to rub it in, assholes.
Like, everyone keeps telling me, oh, they're just going to make the episode. It's coming out. It's coming out. It's coming out. Like, I'll believe it when I see it, damn it.
Darkwing Duck is coming.
I understand things are kind of chaotic right now in the media landscape, especially with a lot of budget cuts,
The writer's strike.
and the writer's strike that's going on as of this recording. So, I mean, but still, I'm still waiting on the Darkwing Duck. I still think it should happen. I don't think that.
Like, I don't know if like the people in charge changing up like hamper things. I know this is not Warner Brothers obviously, but like, you know, with the stuff that's happening over at Warner Brothers canceling everything, the stuff that's happening with Disney changing hands, the writer strike, like there's just a lot of turmoil right
I mean,
now. But at least like
Disney did
yeah.
do a lot of layoffs in the last couple of weeks. They actually have laid off a bunch of
I
people.
would like some news. Like I'm not saying you have to tell us it's ready. I'm just saying it's been delayed or something, you know?
Yeah, I've tried finding information. Like, the most I can find is that, it's supposed to be on Disney Plus. Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg are involved as executive producers, and they are working with Tad Stone, the creator, as a creative consultant. But other than that, there's nothing on a date or any progress whatsoever on this. So, yeah, it's really disheartening. Like you said, they served up the potential of a series on a silver platter here, and it's the prime time for reboots like this. I mean, if they could bring Phineas and Ferb back after 5 friggin' years and a billion movies, they could certainly do it for this. It's just, God, it's so frustrating.
With that being said, I'm going to give my final thoughts. I'll give it to you for your final thoughts and we'll sign off. But first of all, I just want to say thank you for going with us for this DuckTales wild ride. This has been a lot of fun. We still have one more episode after this. Don't go anywhere because we have our top rankings of the top DuckTales episodes. But my final thoughts for today is that DuckTales shorts and this Duckberg life was fantastic. I think it gave us a lot of material after we were sad that the show was ending. And I think that, you know, this did the same thing that the Avatar comics did for me. Is just like, it's still going. This universe still exists. And a lot of people still love it. And just seeing these shorts, seeing this podcast has been great. And the podcast section has been fun. I thank you for joining us on this wild ride. Kat, what are your final thoughts?
Yeah, like I said, these shorts were definitely enjoyable. Like, granted, not all of them were fantastic. Again, there's promotional stuff, but a lot of them really had some effort put in behind them, which I can appreciate. Like, easily my favorites, Dewey Tonight, the theme song Takeover, the random rings to an extent. The chibis were cute. But of course, the podcast Duckberg Life was just fantastic. Again, I appreciate them going in that format and making it still feel like you're watching the show. And I really do hope they continue to make shorts like this, because they should keep DuckTales alive. I know it's been a while now that they've been off the air, but, I still see reruns once in a while, and, now that we're getting ready to do our top 15 list, I'm eager to really rewatch the show again. Because I feel like enough times past where it's like, you know what? I think it's time to revisit some stuff. Like, I realize I really miss this show. Like, I really do. Like, just the shorts alone have me nostalgic, and it just makes me excited for, like, the last bit of this podcast.
Agreed. Doug.
Yeah, to everything you just said, absolutely. Like, this podcast was a long time coming, and it's like, honestly, it's like I'm glad we keep putting it off and putting it off, but that we eventually did it, because it's like we've been wanting to discuss the podcast episodes, and definitely wanted to see the shorts, and obviously seeing the shorts for certain reinvigorated my interest in wanting to go back and rewatch the episodes again. Like, we've been talking about doing the top 15 episodes, and it's like we've rewatched them already and come up with our lists, but we're probably I'm even more eager to watch all these episodes again, maybe see if my ranking still holds or if I'm gonna change things. I definitely, with these shorts, with the podcasts, like, it's that just extra cherry on top of things. Like, even, like, the more mediocre, less memorable shorts, it's like they've still got that energy about them. They've still got the tone of the series in them that, just reminds me how much I love the show. And even like the most mediocre ones, I still get a chuckle out of at some point. Um, it's again, I'm very, very wary to let our series of DuckTales podcasts go, and I think absolutely there is a market for more material should they decide that they do want to like make another set of podcast episodes, make more shorts that they get people back for and aren't really that time consuming.
More Dewey
Obviously,
tonight.
yeah, more Dewey tonight,
Dewey tonight.
definitely,
Dewey tonight.
definitely.
Dewey tonight.
I mean, I know there's certainly roadblocks to it. We've got a writer's strike and Disney upheaval, and streaming has to kind of be figured out, and we need to get this freaking Darkwing Duck reboot off the ground for crying out loud. But if you guys, if Frank Agones, Mac Youngberg, anybody associated with the show says that they're going to put out more content at some point, I am eagerly awaiting and will watch it with, my eyes wide open and I'm ready. My body is ready.
Sign me
Your body
the
is
fuck
Reggie.
up. Shut up and take my money.
And Eric.
This was definitely... This was a lot more fun than I expected, because I never actually got around to watching the shorts or the podcast at this point, up until recently. I feel like when they weren't... I feel like the best stuff was when they weren't trying to do, like, the promo stuff, because, like, that's not to say the promo stuff isn't terrible. It's just, like, it is what it is. It's just whatever. But when they're doing shorts that are not that, like with The World's Longest Death Trap or even the Dewey Do Night, which I still think is the best shorts, that's where the love comes from. And this Duckberg Life, I love how it's just the timing of it, because I remembered when they announced this, it was like it was going to be right after the finale, like shortly after the finale, because like this came out, because I remember the first episode of the podcast came out, I think like a week or two after the series finale of DuckTales. So to me, it always felt like this was like a continuation of the show, and I'm glad that I actually got to sit down and listen to this Duckberg Life, because I just thought it was a lot of fun. And it was like, okay, this could have easily, some of these could have easily just been more episodes of DuckTales that we just never got to see. But I'm glad that I got to see all these things and listen to this podcast. And yeah, about that Darkwing Duck series. Can we still get that, please? Is that still a thing?
Please?
Is that still a thing?
We need to get dangerous, damn it.
Disney.
Give us a spin-off for DuckTales, for Darkwing Duck, and a spin-off for Gargoyles within the same universe as DuckTales. You don't have to end it like this.
Bring Manny back.
Disney,
Give him
you
his
owe
own
us for the
series.
time that you wasted with that Chip and Dale movie.
Yes.
Yeah, because we wasted so much time with that Chip and Dale movie. With that being said, I am Zenith Warrior Princess, the cutest of ghost buns.
I'm Kat McBerry.
I'm Flintheart Doug McBerry.
And I'm Eric Y2 Staller, and unfortunately, Glomdug will be cut this week.
What?
Yes, it is unfortunate, but he has been bumped to next episode.
When will that be?
When we feel like it.
Curse you, Zenith and crew!
But just so you guys know, next episode is going to be our rankings, and then that'll be the final episode of Diving Into DuckTales ever. But I'm pushing to have, something to replace it for, maybe the original Darkwing Duck? Diving Into Darkwing DuckTales?
Getting dangerous?
Yes.
Flapping in the night?
Happens. I am the terror that flaps in the night. In any case, I'm Zenith Warrior Princess. Have a good one, everyone. Thank you so much for listening in to this podcast about a podcast, and we'll see you next time on this DuckTales life.
Emergency bounce house. Poof.